we're going to compare the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max versus the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus. What's up everyone, it is Andrew here from AppleInsider. Today we are checking out the Samsung Galaxy S10 line and the iPhone 11 Pro line. So both of these flagship models for either of the two companies here, there's a lot of little things to go through. We're gonna hit the biggest things in this comparison, high level, the biggest features and specs that differentiate the two devices and how they're similar, and we'll let you be the judge at the end on which one you prefer. So let's go ahead and dive in. To kick things off, we're going to talk about the different phones that we're going to be comparing. In this video, we're primarily going to be talking about the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, though the experience is pretty similar for the plus-size versions as well as the lower versions. So on the iPhone line, we have the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and on the Samsung, we have the Samsung Galaxy S10 and the Galaxy S10 Plus. Both of them are the smaller and larger versions, just depending on what you're looking for, but the core experience remains the same regardless of which one of those you choose. On the iPhone line, there are very little differences between the two phones. It's really just a larger battery life and larger screen that you're getting with the bigger phone. On the Samsung Galaxy line, you're getting the option for a ceramic back on the Plus version. You also have a 1 terabyte storage option on the Plus version, and it has an additional depth camera here on the front. So those are really the only differences. The performance, everything else is going to be spot on the same. So whether you're looking at the lower ones or the bigger ones to compare, this video should be able to help you out. So now that we've talked about the phones we're going to be using, let's compare cameras. Starting off with the back-facing shooters. Each of these two cameras has 3 camera systems on the rear, an ultra-wide lens, a wide lens, and a telelens. The wide angle and the telelenses for both phones come in at 12 megapixels. Though for the Galaxy, the bump up the ultra-wide angle lens to 16 megapixels, where iPhone is still limited at 12. While this does sound like a big deal, and when you zoom in on the photos, you do notice a difference in clarity and resolution between the two shots, it doesn't make a huge difference, because if you're zooming in on an ultra-wide shot, you might as well just use the wide-angle lens or the telelens to begin with and get a better photo all around. So that is one difference with the two cameras. There are differences with apertures, and you can see all those specs in the link in the description, but both of them have phenomenal cameras with very small differences in between them. We did like the night photos better on the iPhone line. If you check out our full camera comparison, you can see the differences there, but they were a lot better on the iPhone versus the Galaxy S10. On the front of the cameras, they each have similar cameras there as well, but the biggest difference I think that would need pointed out is that the Galaxy S10 does not allow you to take portrait mode shots of yourself. No portrait mode selfies. All of the iPhones do, but on the Galaxy line, only the Plus version has that extra depth camera to take the live focus or portrait mode style shots. So if you're looking for portrait mode, you have to either look at any of the iPhones or the larger of the Galaxy S10 line, so the S10 Plus. Comparing the displays of both phones, it's pretty great either way. The Galaxy S10 does have a slightly higher PPI, but both the smaller and larger phones have the same resolution. So the larger one has a higher PPI compared to the bigger one, but at this point, this is kind of what Apple calls their retina resolution. You can't really discern those pixels until you get really close up and start to really kind of peek at those pixels to tell. In normal everyday use, whether you're looking at the iPhone or the Galaxy ones, they simply look great and you can't really see the pixels in either situation. One big difference between these displays is how they dealt with the front-facing cameras. iPhone obviously keeps their telltale notch right there along the top. It builds into the display and it pretty much occupies the status bar in any app that you're in. And if you're looking at videos or photos, anything like that, it does encroach a bit on the screen on that one side, where Samsung has employed more of a hole punch kind of look. It literally puts a hole in the screen whether the 1 or 2 cameras occupy on the screen. On one hand, it is nicer because you take up less space. It takes up less space on the screen, you have less blackness kind of going on there, which is really nice, but at the same time, it doesn't all matter that much. We've been using the Galaxy S10 for quite a while, and as we're using it, it just takes up the status bar. It's literally just in the status bar in almost every app that we're in. And yes, you can turn off the status bar on the Galaxy line, but then you lose the status bar and all of those features. So in normal everyday stuff, we're not really noticing a difference whether we have the notch or we have the punch out. They kind of look different on the home screen, but to us, it's not a huge deal either way. It's there, and you're just gonna have to get used to it. The next feature to tackle is going to be security. On the Galaxy line, they do have an ultrasonic in-screen fingerprint sensor, but this is not super secure. The ultrasonic is better than some of the other ones in the past, but it still has been fooled by simply a 3D printed fingerprint. So that is one option on the Galaxy line, but they also back that up with a facial recognition sensor. So you do have that front-facing camera here, but it is still different than it is on the iPhone line. Apple used the True Depth camera system, which captures the 3D image of your face versus just a standard image on the Galaxy line. What that means, it's a lot easier to fool this one than it is to fool this one. There have been reports online of people breaking into the Galaxy S10 line using simply a video of the owner. They just hold up a video playing of it back and they were able to get into the phone. That is not all that secure, so you really still have to rely on things like PIN codes for more secure aspects of your phone. The True Depth camera system has been beaten on its own, but it requires a much more in-depth process to make out. Apple watches your eyes as well as the 3D aspect of your face, and it requires a lot more effort to be able to fool it than simply a video of the owner of the phone. So if you're looking for the most secure, we're going to have to lean towards iPhone in this regard. The last thing that we want to tackle in this comparison is going to be performance. So we've got two different phones here with a huge gap in performance, even though there was only a 5 or 6 month difference between when this was released and when this was released. Starting off, let's take a look at our old standby Geekbench. This time we're looking at Geekbench 5. In the Geekbench benchmark, the S10 Plus earned a 730 single core and 2517 for the multi-core. On the iPhone, it managed a 1330 for the single core and an even more impressive 3324 in the multi. This is a huge discrepancy, as the A13 Bionic is only a 6-core chip compared to the Snapdragon 855 processor that's an 8-core chip over on the Galaxy line. We then jumped into the browser for the Speedometer browser benchmark, which tests the performance of web applications, and the iPhone 11 Pro managed a huge 150 runs per minute compared to the S10 Plus, which only managed 60.39 runs per minute. And finally, we ran the multi-Antutu benchmark. The iPhone garnered a cumulative 431,803, which is far above the 359,947 of the S10 line. It pulled ahead primarily in the GPU and memory portions. These are huge differences in performance between the two handsets, and it comes down to Apple designing both the hardware and the software. They designed that A13 Bionic chip in there, and they're able to really get the most out of that silicone versus what Galaxy is able to do just by picking things up off the shelf and then trying to tune to that. So wrapping this thing up, which of these phones is the better handset? We can't give you that answer. There's simply a lot of ineffable qualities between both these phones. We can look at the specs and the numbers and the performance and the photos, but it literally comes down to which one you prefer using. Maybe you prefer the App Store over the Galaxy and Play Stores. Maybe you prefer some of the camera features over here on the Galaxy side versus the iPhone. Or you just prefer the Android operating system over iOS. Those are going to be the biggest features, and kind of, in our opinion, you need to play with these phones to see which one you truly like using. Looking at the specs, the performance is better here, but the cameras and the displays, everything else, is pretty much a wash. Security, a little bit edge goes to the iPhone, but both of these phones are solid. It's 2019, phones are amazing, and the differences are very minor, and it comes down to which one you prefer to use. So if you want to get deals on either of these two handsets, you can find the links down below in the description. I'd love to hear your thoughts on which one you prefer down in the comments, or shout them directly at me on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. Hey everyone, did you guys like that video? Be sure to click on that like button so we can create content that we know that you guys want to see. And follow AppleInsider on all social media channels. If you want the best prices on any Apple gear, check out the AppleInsider price guide that is updated daily. And until next time, we'll see you later.